Welcome to episode 1 of the War Journal. For this episode, I decided to wear my hoodie. This is something that I wore almost every day in Desert Storm, and there's a really funny story behind it that I'll tell you in a future episode. But for this episode, what I want to do is I want to read you the introduction of the book, and I want to talk about why I wrote the book and its purpose, and then I want to read the dedication. So let's get started. In November 1990, I deployed with Charlie Company, 2nd Reconnaissance Battalion, to Southwest Asia to fight in Operation Desert Storm. This was the first of 4 combat tours that spanned a 23-year military career in the United States Marine Corps and Navy. Throughout the deployment, I chronicled my experiences in significant events to shed light on the harsh realities of war. What I didn't realize until 30 years later, when I read my war journal during the darkest period of my life, was how the constant emotional strain of combat, deplorable physical conditions, and trauma caused by the death of a friend and betrayal of a woman shaped my identity and had a profound impact on my life. When I retired from the military, I started a new chapter in my life centered around my career and family. I lost contact with my military friends and tried to erase the memories of a turbulent but very rewarding career. My war journal sat untouched on a bookcase in my living room, collecting dust along with other souvenirs from my combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. However, on rare occasions, I'd reminisce with family and friends, usually over drinks, about the time in Desert Storm, but I never once read the journal. I was married for 11 years and raised 3 amazing children with my wife. One night, at the dinner table in front of the kids, she inexplicably asked for a divorce. For the next 14 months, during the COVID-19 pandemic, I raised 2 of my oldest children by myself. My wife kept our youngest daughter because she didn't want to be alone. During that time, I ran a business, assisted with virtual learning, coached the kids' rugby team, cooked dinners, packed lunches, and tried to instill values and beliefs that are important in a child's development. It was the most rewarding time of my life. I developed a bond with my children that gave me a sense of purpose and pride. Then, my world was destroyed overnight. I represented myself at the custody trial, thinking this was a slam dunk. My wife left the marriage, split up the kids, and gave me primary physical custody of the twins. I did an incredible job raising them on my own for over a year. The judge, whose daughter was murdered by her male college roommate, was extremely biased and delivered a ruling that was unimaginable. He claimed that I alienated children from their mother and gave full legal custody of all 3 children to my wife. I was ordered to undergo a psychological evaluation, complete a 14-week parenting course, and undergo 16 weeks of anger management training just to get additional visitation with my kids. After 23 years in the military and 4 combat tours, where I risked my life to defend the rights and freedoms of American citizens, I was betrayed by the family court system. I was alone, powerless, and depressed. Over the next couple months, I met with lawyers, sat in therapy sessions, talked to counselors, and reached out to advocacy groups for help. The only interaction with my children was 30-minute Skype calls on Sunday nights, which were monitored by my ex-wife and often ended without any notice or justification. Thoughts of violence and suicide were frequent occurrences. Countless nights were spent trying to fall asleep and manage the pain I was feeling. I could not stop thinking about the kids. I missed them dearly and worried about their safety. I spent almost every minute of my life with them, and then, in an instant, they were totally removed from my life. It was agonizing. It was during one of the anger management sessions when my therapist discussed how people in the military who are subjected to extreme stress and trauma over prolonged periods of time learn to adapt in order to manage their emotions. He discussed how the brain's neurons change over time and explained the direct correlation to an individual's behavior. We discussed my childhood, explored my time in the military, and analyzed specific events that shaped my identity to understand how my thoughts influenced my behavior. That night, inexplicably, I pulled the journal from my bookshelf and started to read. I was immediately overcome by emotions. Memories of hopelessness, betrayal, and rage, similar to the feelings that I experienced with my current situation, overcame me. I read the entire journal, and when I finished, I sat in the brown leather chair in the living room of my empty home, crying uncontrollably. I realized that the divorce and separation from my children triggered the mental health issues that I had ignored for years. The solitude, fear, anger, and thirst for vengeance that I felt in Desert Storm were exactly the same emotions that I've felt since my children were removed from my life. At that instant, I realized that in many ways I was still the impulsive, immature, naive 20-year-old Marine in Desert Storm, filled with raw emotions and anger. I had never dealt with the issues from my childhood or the trauma from 4 combat tours in the military. Like many men from my generation, and especially those who serve in the military, I ignored and suppressed my emotions. I compartmentalized my thoughts in order to hide the truth. I suffered from PTSD. I also had to come to grips with the personal nature of divorce. Having a child removed from a parent's life is completely different from combat. In combat, you can fight, you know your enemy, and you have the training, skills, and equipment to eliminate threats to yourself and your teammates, who are your family. As a parent going through a divorce and custody battle, you are totally unprepared and ill-equipped for the emotional and financial tolls, which leave you feeling frustrated and hopeless. Reading the war journal unlocked years of torment and pain. However, it took several months before I could openly admit my problem and get over the stigma of having a mental health issue, as well as the idea that I could deal with this myself. I used the war journal as an excuse to reach out to family and friends so I could open up about my past. It was through those discussions that I realized I needed help to cope with my issues. I submitted a claim with the VA for PTSD, started journaling again to chronicle my life and gain deeper understanding of myself, and decided to share my story with others so they could learn from my pain. The war journal enabled me to come to grips with my past, understand the source of my anger, help me endure the agony of hopelessness, depression, and rage, face the realities of my mental health issue, and find meaning and purpose in my life again. It also reinforced valuable life lessons that I had forgotten. I take comfort in knowing that the 20-year-old version of me managed to survive the most agonizing pain imaginable, which gives me hope for my future. Now that you understand the reason why I wrote this, I want to kind of explain the whole purpose behind the book. Written over 3 decades ago, the insights derived from a young Marine's experiences in combat are far more relevant today than ever before. The War Journal provides a roadmap for individuals to recognize, accept, and manage mental health issues and confront life's most difficult challenges. It provides unique perspectives through first-hand accounts of solitude, death, and betrayal, and reinforces core values like integrity and discipline. It also touches upon important topics like education, religion, and friendship. Writing the War Journal gave me the purpose and the strength I needed to navigate the darkest period of my life. I hope the insights and valuable life lessons contained in the War Journal help and inspire others that face similar challenges. I want to share with everybody an email that I received from a counselor at Wounded Warrior. I reached out to her while I was going through this period and asked for assistance and enrolled in a couple activities. A couple months after I published the book, I sent her a copy and I asked her to read it and give me some feedback. And this is an email that I received from her. Hello, sir. I assisted you a couple months back. I wanted to follow up with you after reading your book. Very insightful and powerful. I appreciate you sharing your life in the book. It has equipped me to be better at helping service members and veterans. I wish you all the best, and Nanu, Nanu. Receiving that email really gave me a purpose again to help other veterans, active duty Marines, and any individuals who are suffering and going through trauma. I believe this podcast is a way to help. And I really look forward to taking this journey with you. And before I end, I want to read the dedication to the book, because this is probably the most important thing out of the whole podcast. To my children, Ryan, Tabitha, and Samantha, know that I will always love you with all my heart and being your dad gives me the greatest joy in my life. I am truly sorry that we are apart right now. I wish that I could be there to guide, protect, and comfort you. However, I look forward to being a part of your lives in the future, so together, we can overcome life's most difficult challenges. Never forget that Siscos don't lie, cheat, or steal, and that my job is to prepare you for life. Hey, thank you for watching and listening to the War Journal. I hope you found today's episode enlightening. And be sure to join me next week for another episode as we continue to explore the human experience. Your support means the world to me. And remember to like, follow, and share the podcast with your friends and family. Your support helps this podcast grow and reach more people to spread this message of courage and resilience in the face of adversity. So until next time, stay strong, keep seeking the lessons that life has to offer, and thank you for being a part of the War Journal community.